All right, everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a deep dive into some pretty intense instructions.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking Exodus chapter 25 in the King James Version,
Okay.
where God lays out the blueprint for building a portable sanctuary, a place for him to dwell among the Israelites.
Right.
But it's not just any old sanctuary.
Yeah.
He gets super specific.
Uh,
We're talking details about the materials, the dimensions, everything. Gold, shittim wood,
yeah. Even badger skin.
badger skins. What's the deal with that?
I know, right? It's like God is giving them some sort of IKEA manual for a sacred space.
Right.
It really makes you think, all this detail, is it about control? Or is something more going on here?
That's a great question. Because even before they start building, God asks the Israelites for offerings,
Okay.
but he makes it very clear they need to be given willingly from the heart.
You know, it makes you think, couldn't God just snap his fingers and poof, make the sanctuary appear?
Yeah.
Why even bother with the whole donation drive?
Right.
Maybe it's less about the materials themselves and more about what giving represents in the relationship between God and the Israelites.
I think I'm with you on that. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he's saying, I want you invested in this. I don't want you just going through the motions.
Right.
And speaking of investment, let's talk about the Ark of the Covenant.
Okay.
This is like the centerpiece, right?
Yes.
And the description, oh my goodness, it's like something out of like a treasure vault or something.
Right. It's overlaid with pure gold specific dimensions. It's not just about storage. You know,
Correct.
it's holding the Ten Commandments, the law. It's
Wow.
like God saying, this is the foundation of our relationship. This is the rule book that we're agreeing to. And then there's the placement.
Okay.
So right in the Holy of Holies, the most sacred spot.
The placement matters.
Yes, the placement matters.
Hmm.
It's like prime real estate for the law.
I never thought about where things go as having like spiritual meaning.
It's a great way to think about it.
Yeah. So is it like feng shui for faith?
That's a good way to put it.
Okay.
It shows how important the law is in this covenant between God and the Israelites. And then there's that mysterious detail, the mercy seat.
Oh, yeah. What's that all about?
So gold again this time, covering the ark, with these two cherubim facing each other.
Okay.
It's like, oh, they're these sacred guardians.
Right. Because God even speaks to Moses from between those cherubims above the mercy seat.
Exactly.
Like this direct line of communication.
Exactly. And not just any communication, right?
Right.
This is where God gives forgiveness, shows mercy. It's a really powerful image, right?
Yeah.
Of a God who is both holy and approachable.
Wow. It's like they're setting the stage for like a divine encounter or something.
Right.
Okay, so we've got this incredible ark, this sacred space within a sacred space. What else is God telling them to build?
Well, it's not all serious and heavy, you know. He also wants them to create some beautiful, really beautiful objects for this sanctuary.
Like what? I'm intrigued.
Well, let's dive into the details next time. Trust me, you don't want to miss this.
I'm already hooked. All right, everyone, make sure you come back for part 2 where we uncover even more secrets of the sanctuary. Until then, keep those brains buzzing and those hearts seeking.
See you next time.
Okay, so we've got this incredible ark, this like sacred space within a sacred space.
Right.
What else is God telling them to build?
Well, you know, it's not all serious and heavy.
Okay.
He wants them to create some beautiful, really beautiful objects for the sanctuary.
Okay, like what?
I'm intrigued.
Okay, so up next, we've got this table and the shewbread.
Okay.
It's not just your average dinner setup. We're talking gold, intricate carvings, special utensils.
Wow. Fancy.
Right, it's like the ultimate ancient feast.
Yeah.
But the shewbread itself,
Yeah.
it was always supposed to be present before God.
Okay.
So, you know, it goes beyond just a meal. It's this constant symbol of communion between God and his people.
So it's kind of like communion or the Eucharist? Exactly. That's a great connection.
Okay.
Yeah, it's this reminder that this relationship with God is meant to be ongoing. It's not just a once-a-week thing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the ark. We've got this, like, elaborate dining setup. What else?
Okay, now for the showstopper, this is really cool.
Okay.
We've got the golden candlestick.
Okay.
I mean, this thing is seriously next-level craftsmanship.
Wow.
It sounds more like a museum piece, honestly, than something you'd use for actual light.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. It's described in such detail.
Yeah, all these details.
Ah.
The artistry, the craftsmanship. I mean, you have to wonder if maybe the craftsmanship itself was like a form of worship.
That's a good point. Yeah. But then there's also the light itself, right?
Yes.
It says it's supposed to shine over against it.
Yeah, over against it.
That's got to have some deeper meaning, right?
Oh, yeah,
It
definitely.
can't just be about illuminating the sanctuary.
Well, think about it.
Okay.
Light dispelling darkness, guiding the way. It's like God's word illuminating the path for the Israelites.
Interesting.
And also, the Israelites were supposed to be a light to the nations.
Well, yeah.
They were supposed to share God's message with the world, so
So it's about more than just like physical light.
much more.
Okay.
It's about spreading God's message, being a beacon of hope.
Wow. So many layers of meaning
Right.
packed into one candlestick.
It's true.
It's like every detail in this sanctuary is shouting, like, pay attention. There's more here than meets the eye.
Exactly.
And speaking of details, there's that really big one.
Oh, yeah.
Verse 40, look that thou make them after their pattern, which was showed thee in the mount.
In other words, follow the instructions, people.
Right. No going rogue with the sanctuary decor, like stick to the plan.
Right. It's about obedience,
So what's the message there?
Like God is
Yeah.
saying, I've given you the blueprint. Trust me on this one.
Yeah.
It's a powerful message.
Yeah, it is.
Even for today.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, we always try to, do it yourself.
Right, like DIY our lives.
Yeah, DIY our lives. But sometimes maybe we need to just step back and say, okay, God, what's your plan?
Right, like letting go of the control.
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, I have to ask, like, of all these details about the sanctuary,
Yeah.
what stands out to you the most?
Honestly, it's the gold.
The goal.
It's everywhere. The
Yeah.
ark, the table, the candlestick.
Yeah, it's true. You can't miss it.
I mean, it's like a blinged out palace.
It's true. But why so much gold? What do you think?
Well, I mean, gold has always been associated with purity and value, with the divine.
Right.
So it's not just about decoration. It's about emphasizing the sacredness of this space.
Okay.
Like, this isn't just any random building. People treat it with respect.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And that purity element, it makes you think
Right.
it's not just about the outside, right? It's also about the inside.
Yeah.
Are we approaching God with pure hearts?
Yeah.
With genuine intentions?
Exactly.
It's a good point.
It's a challenge to look inward
Yeah.
and say, okay, am I bringing my best self to this relationship?
Right.
Or am I just going through the motions?
Wow. So much to unpack in just this one chapter. Feels like we've barely scratched the surface.
I know.
But, okay, so let's take a step back before we get too carried away
Yeah.
and just look at what we've learned so far.
Okay.
So we started with the purpose of the sanctuary,
Right.
a place for God to dwell among his people,
Uh-huh.
showing his desire for closeness with them.
Yeah, exactly.
And we talked about all that symbolism,
Mhm.
behind the Ark of the Covenant,
Yeah.
the table and the shewbread, that amazing golden candlestick.
Right.
Each piece revealing all these layers of meaning
Yeah.
about God, our relationship with him
Uh-huh.
and the importance of, obedience
Mhm.
and genuine devotion.
It's all connected.
And we can't forget the gold.
Oh, the goal.
It's not just about, how it looks. It's about a call for inner purity and, genuine intention in our faith.
Right. It's a reminder that our faith shouldn't just be an outward show.
Uh-huh.
It needs to come from a place of true sincerity.
Right. It's a reminder that our faith shouldn't just be an outward show.
Yeah. It needs to come from a place of true sincerity.
It's like saying it's not enough to just look the part. We have to live it too.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've unpacked all these incredible details about the sanctuary, but
Yeah.
how does this ancient blueprint
Right.
apply to our lives today?
Yeah.
What's the takeaway for us, modern folks?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
No.
Because let's face it,
Yeah.
we're not building physical sanctuaries these days.
No.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
The Israelites built the space for God's presence, right?
Right.
What if we could build those spaces too?
Okay.
Not out of wood and gold, but within ourselves.
Whoa. So you're saying we can create our own internal sanctuaries?
Exactly.
Okay, I like that.
Think of it this way. If the physical sanctuary was a place to connect with God,
Uh-huh.
what are the things we can do
Yeah.
to build that connection within ourselves?
Okay, so what are the building materials
Right.
for this internal sanctuary?
Think about it.
Okay.
Prayer, meditation,
Okay.
studying sacred texts, acts of service.
Yeah.
Those are all ways of building that connection.
Okay.
It's like taking those ancient blueprints and applying them to our own, our
Thank you.
own spiritual lives.
It's like we're the architects of our own faith.
Exactly.
But, we talked about that emphasis on free will
Yes.
and obedience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Does that still apply here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Remember, the Israelites were asked to give freely from the heart.
Right.
It wasn't about like forced labor.
Yeah.
It was about choosing to participate.
Okay.
And for us, it's the same.
Yeah.
Our faith, it should be a choice.
A willing surrender to something bigger than ourselves.
Right. Not just going through the motions, but really like
Yeah.
putting our hearts into it.
Exactly.
And what about that whole,
Yeah.
light to the nations thing with the candlestick?
Oh, yeah.
Does that translate to our modern lives at all?
Definitely.
How so?
It's about letting our own light shine,
Okay.
sharing our faith and values with the world around us.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be preachy.
Oh.
It can be as simple as just showing kindness, compassion, and standing up for what we believe in.
Right. So it's like we're not just building a sanctuary for ourselves, but
Right.
we're also like radiating that light outwards,
Yeah.
impacting the world around us.
Exactly.
Wow, this deep dive has been incredible.
I know. It's fascinating.
It's amazing how like these ancient instructions
Yeah.
can still be so relevant
I know.
and powerful today.
Absolutely.
So what would you say is like the most important takeaway? The most important takeaway,
Yeah.
I think it's that each of us has the potential to create a sacred space
Okay.
within ourselves, a
Wow.
place where we can connect with God, find strength and guidance,
Yeah.
and ultimately let that light shine out into the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Yeah.
I want to leave you with this. What are you doing to build your spiritual sanctuary?
Right. That's the question.
Are you using the right materials?
Yeah.
The ones that come from the heart.
Exactly.
Are you following the blueprint?
Yeah.
Seeking guidance,
Mm-hmm.
trusting in, something bigger than yourself.
It's about the journey.
And most importantly, are you letting your light shine?
That's what it's all about.
Those are really powerful questions
Yeah, they are.
for all of us to think about.
As we continue on our own journeys of faith.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure.
We hope it's inspired you to keep exploring,
Mm-hmm.
the wisdom found in these ancient texts.
Yeah.
And to find ways to apply these, like, timeless teachings to your own life.
To your own life.
Until next time, keep diving deep.
See you then.